Hey, welcome to Vintage Super League. I am not Randy Bueller, and neither is Kai. Right,
He,
Kai?
he will show up later though, but
Ah,
not in
so
this spot.
me and Kai are here this week. Randy is not in the booth because tonight most of the Magic is really 50% Randy, 50% Efro. It's Randy Bueller versus Eric Froelich, playing for the rights to play Luis Scott Vargas, for the rights to play me in the finals.
But it's going to be a lot of matches today.
It is.
Basically, this is the first round of the playoff. The match that we had last week was only a tiebreaker match to determine who is what seed, and today is actually the first match that matters. Today, the loser is eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah, that's right. And it's kind of a strange format because each player shows three decks, which could all be the same deck or could all be completely different. And they're going to play deck A against deck A, deck B against deck B, deck C against deck C. And then unless someone wins 3-0, then they're going to play two more matches with the decks of their choice. And Kai and I happen to know what decks they're playing here. So I guess do we think people want to know what the decks are going to be?
I would guess so. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
exciting.
So the thing that's the most amazing to me is that Randy is not playing Merfolk. There's no Merfolk deck among Randy's three decks.
And Eric didn't go back to Dredge. I mean, who would have expected that?
What did Dredge do this year? Go 0-11 or something? I guess it had to be
Oh, and 10. Like it was only 10 matches, but yeah.
0-10.
I'm still unsure if I mean obviously Eric got unlucky with Dredge, but like it still seems to be a pretty hostile environment for Dredge in here, and none of the two players today chose Dredge.
To be honest, in my entire when I was playing a lot of live vintage tournaments and stuff, I I only recall ever losing one match to Dredge ever. I think that the way to lose to Dredge is just to ignore it. If you ignore it, you will lose to it, and if you don't, I really don't think it's a great deck. I've always been shocked by how well it does. I never lose to it.
The problem is also that there are a lot of people in this league like to play decks that are just good against Dredge. I mean, the blue Belcher decks, for example, like I'm just goldfishing faster than them, and they're not really interacting that much, so I'm not scared at all.
But there were only three Belcher decks were played, right? Of overall the rounds.
So. Well, yeah. In the second week, it was kind of obvious no one would play Belcher, I think, because it just did too well in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
There was too much hate expected, I think.
So yeah, I guess we can reveal match one. It's the best 3 of 5 matches. Match one, I would never have predicted this. Randy is playing Doomsday. Eric is playing Doomsday.
I mean, Doomsday is Eric's range is big. Eric has played everything so far. But Doomsday is certainly a deck that fits very well to Eric's playstyle, I think. So I'm not surprised at all.
So I don't know. I guess we can reveal the rest of the decks. Match two, Randy is playing Blue Belcher and got really unlucky because Eric is on Martello Shops.
Martello Shops means that's the big shops, right? With the 3-5 guys that.
Right.
Yeah, the Fortune Master shops. And then, which is probably a little bit better, right? Like I think the shop decks that you're usually playing is even worse for the Belcher deck.
Absolutely, it is definitely better because they're less likely because they don't have null round.
Oh, I mean that's huge. I mean null round is the
no null rounds in normal, so that's a big deal. Yeah. And then the third match, Randy is on a Mentor control deck, and this seems also a little unlucky. Efro's on Oath, which I assume is good against or not a great matchup for a mentor deck?
It really depends. The mentor deck could sideboard a lot of stuff. Like you might have the 2 casting cost Priest and Cage. But yeah, like game 1 must be big in favor of also. I mean, we're always talking like 60-65% here. I mean, it's still vintage decks playing each other. But yeah, I mean, this on paper it looks like Eric is advantaged here just because the shops deck matches up so well against Belcher.
Right, but if this has gone the other way, like we could have easily, if Belcher was against Oath and it worked out, and Mentor was against Doomsday and Doomsday was against Shops, I think this could have been worked out in Randy's favor, I guess. And then
obviously
matches 4 and 5. you know, they're gonna have to pick the decks they think. There's gonna be
Yeah,
a little game
I
theory
mean,
kicks in.
I really hope there's no 3-0 victory. I mean, that would be so boring. Just
Right?
the guessing who's playing what for the
Yeah.
fourth match.
It just seems like
That's
with knowing that Eric has a shops deck accessible to him, it seems like Randy would have to really like the Belcher deck better to risk playing it because the matchup
uh,
is so bad against shops.
yeah, like looking at Eric's decks, I would probably go with Shops for a fourth match because it matches up reasonably well against all three decks on Randy's side, I think. I mean,
Uh, well, I don't know. I think that if you think shops matches up well against all three of Randy's decks, doesn't that just kind of say that you think shops is one of the
I think Shops is very
right? I mean,
likely the
I
best deck.
agree.
I mean,
I don't know if these are really great shop matchups. It's just that shops is so good. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I just don't like playing Shops.
But
But
Oath
I think
seems terrible against Doomsday.
um I think the decks are pretty similar actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's both combo decks, both have the same Force of Will package. You
Yeah,
probably
but the Oath just has so many dead draws, and Doomsday has discard spells, right?
what does a dead draws?
You know, like
I mean, I assume he's playing the show and tell version.
Oath when you don't have an orchard, and
Eh,
show and tell when you don't have a Gristlebrand, and Gristlebrand when you don't have a show and tell, and I don't know.
I mean,
I've always thought
Doomsday is good against other combo and control decks, obviously. I mean, it's the most resilient of all the combo decks. It only has to resolve one spell. Well, I don't think it's that terrible. I mean, in the end, you're still playing like two powered combo decks and like
right. And of course, we haven't seen the list. If Ephro could be playing the more controlling version of Oath that like Rich Shea played, which is like the Greg Fenton Oath, as people call it, because a guy named Greg Fenton does very well with it in vintage tournaments. But I doubt it. I would guess that Ephro is on this.
I expect show and tells. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the
Well,
three
although I think Rich Shea
Grizzlebrand.
did have show and tells, but I think it was. I don't think it was
Oh,
quite as
it
aggressive. It wasn't quite as aggressive as the version that you and Luis played.
didn't have omniscience. I think that was the main difference.
Right. Oh, was really that the only difference?
I mean, the decks were reasonably similar. I mean, he had,
Okay.
I think Rich had three Grizzlebrand, but we had like one and an Emerald Cool. But like, I mean, that doesn't really matter that much.
No, that does not matter that much.
But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, obviously matchups make up for some amount here, but deck choices, and then I mean, a lot of these decks are pretty similar, so it's coming down a lot to the playing. Like the only match that's possibly a little boring to watch is Shops against Belcher, because there's probably not that much interaction happening. Like either Randy is winning on his first turn, or he is getting to not cast any spells. I mean, Randy could have the blue ley line sideboard plan. So if Shops goes first and you have a blue ley line in your opening hand, you can respond to the first Shop spell by playing all your artifact mana.
I would suspect that Randy doesn't even have that plan anymore. After seeing your success with just bringing in workshops against like a Delver deck, I would guess that Randy has just moved to the all workshops plus spirit guides. I think if you have workshops plus spirit guides, there's no reason to mess around with that leyline plan.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I like the workshops.
Yeah, I like the workshops and the spirit guides just make a big difference too.
The problem is that you are playing against 4 wastelands and a strip mine, so
that's always going to be a problem, though.
Yeah, that's always annoying.
Maybe he has a crucible in his sideboard.
To next level him? I don't think that's happening.
I thought about it. I seriously contemplated playing a crucible without any workshops in my sideboard. Just play there's one land in my deck, and I'm playing Crucible Worlds. But
so who are you rooting for here? Who's your ideal finals opponent?
Well,
out of the three.
Wow, that put me on the spot there. My ideal finals opponent. I mean, right now it is. It's I see David. By the way, David Williams in the chat saying that going to all workshops is bad because your Belcher doesn't go off. But the fact is I don't actually think that's true, because a lot of times you can just Belcher them 2 or 3 times because they don't kill you fast enough, or you have and you also have a key in your deck to Belcher once a turn.
Like a big problem here is that you can't activate Belcher with workshop.
Well, so that's true, but when they don't have Null Rod, once you get your Moxes into play, they're good.
That is true.
Um,
But yeah,
what was I saying? Oh,
I
who
agree. Like having 4 or 5 lands in the deck is not nearly as bad as it sounds. I don't think.
I agree. It's bad, but yeah, I agree. Bad, not as bad as it sounds. I doubt he has 4 workshops anyway. As far as who I want to play in the finals, I mean, it's hard to want to play against any of these guys. But right now, Eric and Luis are, 2 of the best players in the game right now, and Randy is a very good player, but not one of the best players in the game right now. So I guess I would, you know,
Do we want to win that bad?
I'm probably, I'm more comparable currently in Magic skill to Randy Buehler than I am to Eric Froelich and Luis Scott Vargas.
With Lewis, you always have the chance that he's playing like fun decks over real decks. Like
I
that's
don't think he's
always.
gonna do that. I don't think he's gonna do that in the finals.
Oh, he is. I mean, it's Lewis.
Yeah.
Come on. No.
Oh.
He's playing for the fans. He's not bringing dredge shops and something like that. He's
But
bringing decks that are fun to play.
I mean, I will say that Randy did nothing to shy away from decks that force him to outplay Eric, which I was wondering if Randy would say Eric is just playing really strong Magic right now. I'm going to play shops. I'm going to play decks where that is a little bit minimized, and Randy did not do that at all.
No. Mentor and Doomsday. There's so much interaction with your opponent with these decks. So many choices every turn. Like especially Doomsday is insane. I mean, I haven't actually played Doomsday, but I've tried. Like I've tested it a bit, and just resolving the Doomsdays correctly is just a nightmare.
Right. Well, I'm guessing that if he's playing the deck, he's comfortable with the Doomsday piles.
I mean, he didn't have that much time to test. I mean, I assume he was in Brussels at least from Wednesday on, and then he certainly had other stuff to do over the last weekend, and then he had to fly back. So,
right.
I mean, he probably tested the week before, but I mean, he does have the advantage over Eric, who didn't think about Vintage the last 2 weeks, I'm sure. Like, he actually just blanked Vintage out until the flight back from Europe.
Well, Randy's got a lot going on, too, including the modern rotisserie draft that we'll be streaming tomorrow night. But,
yeah,
Randy,
I thought there was some questionable picks there, but
well, that's all experimental.
Yeah. And then the Standard League is starting in what, 2 weeks, I think.
Yes. Standard Super League is exciting. I'm hoping it goes really well.
It's kind of sad that we don't get to play Vintage for such a long time, but yeah, I'm definitely watching that. I mean, a lot of my teammates are in that, and I mean, usually I kind of hope to watch my teammates in the PT coverage, but the last weekend they disappointed me.
Yeah, as far as the Pro Tour, this was not Pantheon's strongest showing. Oh, it sounds like they're ready to go. So here we go, Doomsday versus Doomsday. Just how
Doomsday mirror match.